So the next thing that happened on Dynamite, it was a main event. It was Chris Jericho versus Eddie Kingston one-on-one in a barbed wire anywhere match, or barbed wire everywhere match, one of those two words. But yeah, it was a pretty good match. Ruby Soho was at ringside for Eddie Kingston, and we see the rest of the Jericho Appreciation Society locked up in the short cage. So yeah, all of them was locked up in the short cage. And this match, it was a pretty good match. It was going on and everything. Jericho was busted open. Kingston was bleeding from the back and everything. They was going through barbed wire tables. Like, everything was wrapped up in barbed wire. Even though with Justin Roberts' microphone, it was wrapped up in barbed wire for some reason. And the ring bell was wrapped up in barbed wire. Half of the ropes was pretty much wrapped up in barbed wire except one side so they can get in and out of the ring. So yeah, stuff like that. Just a bunch of tables and steel chairs wrapped up in barbed wire as well. So yeah, in this match, it was a pretty good match. Like, everybody was going through shit and everything. And then Ty Conti at one point comes up and attacks Ruby Soho. They was both brawling, and then Anna Jay comes up, pulls Ty Conti off of Ruby Soho, talking about, what are you doing and all that. Ruby Soho gets up, and then Anna Jay attacks Ruby, and pretty much just turning heel, and then runs Ruby's head into the ring post, laying her out, and she grabs the controls for the short cage, lowers it down. Ty Conti runs through the crowd, pretty much trying to like unlock the short cage, but she had problems doing that. So we see, I think it was Daniel Garcia and Angelo Parker just straight up like went through the cage instead, like through the bars, and just ran into the ring to brawl with Kingston. And then at one point she actually got it unlocked, I guess, and that's when Jake Hager and Matt Bernard got out of there as well. So yeah, stuff like that happened, and then they're beating down Kingston. Then we see John Moxley and all them come up, saving Kingston, pretty much brawling with the JAS as well outside the ring. They was all going at it, and then we see Kingston and Jericho going at it. It was pretty good stuff. And then at one point we see Kingston have the steel chair wrapped up with barbed wire, about to hit Jericho, but Jericho hits him with a code breaker, and that chair smacks Jericho in the face. At one point, Jericho goes for the pin. Kingston barely kicking out too. At one point, we see Kingston hit a exploder suplex on Jericho through the barbed wire table in the corner. He goes for the pin. Jericho barely kicking out too. And then at the ending, we see Kingston grab that bunch of barbed wire, wraps it around Jericho's arm, pretty much locking on that submission hold, that stretcher move onto Jericho. But then Sammy Guevara got in the ring, breaking up the submission hold, making his return back after a few weeks or whatever. So yeah, he starts beating down Kingston, and then then Jericho, Guevara picks up Kingston, and they spun each other around for a second for some reason, and then Kingston got hit with the Judas effect with the barbed wire wrapped around Jericho's arm, and then Jericho goes for the pin, got the 3 count. Jericho wins the match. So yeah, Chris Jericho defeated Eddie Kingston. And then Kingston got back up, starts brawling with Jericho, and then pushed him into Guevara, and then it was just a bunch of stuff happening, like miscommunication, it looks like. And then Kingston gets Jericho on the apron, just tosses him onto this batch of barbed wire, pretty much laying him out. So yeah, that's what happened there. I'll say that's match of the night, but it was just a bunch of miscommunication, pretty much. And then you got Ty Conti, unable to unlock the door for a little bit. So yeah, stuff like that happened. But other than that, it was a good match between Kingston and Jericho. It didn't really ruin it. So yeah. But for the match, I'll give it 3.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. But still a pretty good match. I'll say that's match of the night. And other matches on the card for tonight was pretty good as well. Like the tag team match with John Moxley and Wheeler Yuta taking on Best Friends. That was a really good match. And yeah, there was some good matches and some matches that was like, eh. So yeah, for tonight's Fyter Fest, I'll give it 8 stars. That's what I'll give it. Actually, I'll give it 7.5 stars, because even though there was a few good matches, there was still some matches that was kind of, pretty much. I would just say the tag team match, like I said, with Best Friends and all that, was a pretty good match, and then the main event was a good match. Dax pretty much cutting a good promo and stuff, but pretty much the rest of the card was in a way. So yeah, that's what I'll give the whole show, 7.5 stars. But yeah, that was Dynamite. So yeah, like, subscribe to TNW Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris Bagels, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I'll be down there in the description box. And yeah, I'll see you guys later for this Friday Night SmackDown reviews. See you guys later. Until then.